Welcome to the awards party here on the channel. Today we are going over some Epic Universe attractions, handing out some awards, and then at the end of the video we will give our top 11 attractions at Epic Universe. Now the park has been open for a few weeks at this point. We did a bunch of previews, tech tests, everything like that. So at this point I feel like it's time to hand out some awards. So what we'll do is we'll go through each category and give like a bronze, silver, gold to each ride inside of those categories based on what the actual criteria is. So let's start with our very first category. So the first awards we will be handing out are for the category of most re-rideability inside of Epic Universe. So that means a ride that you feel like you could ride multiple times, it's not a one and done, and you feel like you need to go back, get a few more rides on it, and enjoy what it has to offer. Either way, let's start with kind of the bronze, third place there, and that's gonna be Dragon Racers Rally. Now hear me out. This ride is one of those rides where I get off every single time and I'm like, I wish I would have spun more. I wish I could have gotten my vehicle to go upside down some more. And coming off of the ride, it's not necessarily that it's the most fun ride in the park, but it is one of those rides that I get off and I'm like, I want to just ride it again because I need to try. I gotta get my thing to flip over a few more times. And I think there's kind of a draw from that aspect. So I do believe it deserves the third spot there for re-rideability. Getting the silver for this category of re-rideability would be Monsters Unchained. This is one of those rides where when you walk through the queue, you're just taking it all in, you're just shocked. You go on the ride, you get done and you're like, what happened? That was crazy. And then if you ride it again, you pay a little bit more attention to the story, you start to recognize a few more little details, and then you ride it again and you notice more details, pay more attention to the story, and you keep riding it and riding it and riding it, and it just keeps getting better and better as you start to recognize what is happening, how things are going, and you start to appreciate all of those small details on the ride. So I definitely think Monsters Unchained is one of those rides where you want to ride it 2, 3, 4 times on your visit, not just a one and done. And in first place, I don't think this is much of a shock, but it would be Stardust Racers. And the big reason why, you got 2 tracks. So you have to ride it twice in order to experience both the yellow and the green track. But if you really look at it, you kind of have 3 sections to each of the rides. You have the front, the middle, and the back. So you realistically have like 6 different ways to experience the ride in the daytime, and then you repeat that at night, the front, the middle, and the back on both sides. So you have like 12 different ways you can realistically ride this ride and have completely different experiences on each of them. The night rides I think are better, but again, nighttime middle is different than daytime middle. The back is way more intense than the front, but the front has different visuals, different feelings. It's just one of those attractions I think like you just have to ride it multiple times. You gotta try both sides, both green and yellow. Try the front, try the back, try it at night, try it during the day. It has a ton of re-rideability, and I think that is a huge home run for Epic Universe. And now the next category will be technology. What rides have the best and craziest tech when it comes to attractions? Now we know Epic Universe is really kind of pioneering a lot of the technology in the park, not just the attractions. And I feel like a lot of theme parks are looking at Epic Universe to see the tech that they used, what they want to use, what they kind of want to capitalize on. And I think this is a good category to kind of break everything down and really look at like, where is the tech in the park? Now in third place for our bronze medal, it would be Minecart Madness. This attraction is just completely unique. When it comes to a type of roller coaster that I've never been on, this is it. I have done a lot of different types of roller coasters, launches, wooden, inverted, stand-up coasters, everything I have done, but I've never done this like trackless style, whatever this is, and it is very cool. I know it's a little bumpy, but that's kind of like the whole point of it, is you're on this minecart kind of traveling around. There are points where it definitely dupes you. You think you're going straight and it kind of veers off. You think you're gonna collide. It takes you away. You can't see the track like ever the entire time. They utilize the fake tracks to really sell it, and I just love it. I think it's a really well done attraction. I think the technology here is smart. I think it's gonna be for the future. I think it's gonna be a way to have like storytelling elements inside of a roller coaster without having like this big giant coaster. You could still have some fun stuff there because it's not the biggest, fastest or anything. You know, it's really not that intense, but overall it's just a fun ride. And yeah, I think they just did a really good job with this one and some decent tech there. Coming in second place for our silver medal, will be Monsters Unchained, picking up another award here. I think Monsters has some crazy cool tech, and those animatronics are on another level. I've never seen animatronics like this. I mean, even just in the pre-show room with Frankenstein's experiment there, it's just like, what the heck is going on here? How is this thing so tall? How does it move? Like, it's crazy. So I would say when it comes to Monsters, there is a lot of tech in this ride, but it's not necessarily the highest technology compared to our number one. But I think there's some really unique elements here because we're utilizing the old system from Forbidden Journey with the Kuka arm, but I think with the screens and the animatronics and the way they kind of blend everything, I think it's super well done, and I can't just say enough good things about it. It is super, super cool and some really crazy tech, especially with those animatronics. That means our number one spot has to be Battle at the Ministry. This ride is just full of crazy tech. I mean, you don't know what's real, what's not. You don't know when a room starts, when it ends. You don't know where you're at. It's just seamless the whole way through. It just feels like the most complete attraction. I guess if you're comparing it to something like Monsters, Monsters has a few elements sometimes where like there is like a wall that has like a sheet or something on it, so you're not like 100% immersed, where for this, it's like the second the ride starts until the second the ride stops, you are fully immersed. There's nothing like exposed. There's no way to tell where you are. It's really dang cool, and they did a very good job making sure to keep that technology to a top tier on this attraction, and I could see why it might have cost quite a pretty penny to make this thing. It is very, very cool. But yeah, I would have to say Battle at the Ministry gets the gold medal, the number one spot for best tech in the park. The next category we are focusing on would be the most nauseating ride. So you might not want to get one of these awards, but we do have a top three here. And number three, it is going to be Curse of the Werewolf. Now this ride is hit or miss. You could have a ride where you hardly spin at all, and you could have a ride where your vehicle is going kind of nuts. So it really depends on the ride that you get. The consistency is not very high here, so there's a chance you have like no spins and a chance that you are just spinning nonstop, so you might get sick. I don't know. I've ridden it like 8 to 10 times at this point, and I have not gotten off once feeling nauseous at all. So I take that as a pretty good win. And I have heard some people saying that they got nauseous on it even the first time that they rode. But I think in general, this ride is kind of a coin flip, so I can't really give it a much higher spot than like 3, but I would say it could potentially make you nauseous, so we'll give it the bronze medal here. And next up for our silver medal, the number 2 spot, it is going to be Mario Kart Bowser's Challenge. Now this one, I wasn't sure if it was gonna make me nauseous, and it hasn't totally made me nauseous yet, but there have been points in there where I'm like, ooh, I gotta kind of like close my eyes, or I gotta like be careful, because it gets a little finicky on where things are and kind of like how close the screen is for like that like augmented virtual reality thing that's going on. And yeah, I've heard some people get off of that and they say that they get nauseous. Thankfully, like I said, I haven't gotten too nauseous, but I've started to feel it creeping up, but I've kind of been able to, you know, get it out of there before it gets too bad. One nice thing about this ride is you could take the goggles off and have no issues at all riding it. So I would say, you know, if you are starting to get a little nauseous, just pop the goggles off. It's like a magnetic system or whatever. Totally fine. And then our gold medal, again, not sure this is the gold you want to be taking home, but it is going to be another medal for Battle at the Ministry. This ride messed me up a little bit. Not gonna lie to you. I got off and for about 2 hours, I had a headache. I was pretty nauseous and I was like, ooh, that was rough. So a lot of screens in there and they're moving quick. So they're really crisp and you know, it's a good quality. But again, motion simulator rides, this is right up there with that, and it's going to make some people nauseous, unfortunately. A lot of people that I talk to that get nauseous on a lot of other rides at Universal did get nauseous on this one. And Nicole didn't get nauseous on the first run, but she did get nauseous on the second. I was kind of opposite. I was way more nauseous on the first, and then the second one, a little bit of a headache, but I knew it was coming and it kind of helped out a little bit. But I would say, yeah, if you guys get motion sick on some of these like simulator rides, you do need to be careful with this one. I think it's definitely worth riding, maybe popping a Dramamine or Bonine, maybe about 30 minutes before you ride, just to kind of let that set in. could help out a little bit. One big thing that I will give you a little tip on is if you focus on what is in front of you and not trying to look around at all of the screens, it will help a little bit. I did notice that it helped out when I knew what to focus on instead of like looking at all the moving screens and everything. Obviously your first ride through, you're trying to look and see what is happening, and so that kind of does make it a little bit more nauseating, but overall I do have to give the gold medal in this category to Battle at the Ministry. The next category we are giving out some awards for would be the best queue at Epic Universe. Now, a lot of the queues have some theme to them. Some are definitely more themed than others. And we have to start with our number 3 for bronze. It would be Mario Kart Bowser's Challenge. Some people actually, I could see putting this as number 2 or 1, depending on how interested you are in the Mario Kart franchise or Super Nintendo in general. It is a beautifully well done queue. From start to finish, you feel like you are in the game and you are going through kind of just like the whole castle. You're seeing the cups over on the side. You get these fun little elements. It is a fun queue. I don't think it's quite the best queue, but I think as far as theming goes, they nailed it. It's just a great vibe in there, and there's some really fun elements and Easter eggs if you really look around. Overall, like I said, definitely a solid bronze, easily the 3rd best, and it could be higher depending on who you are. Now, I know some of you guys might not agree with some of our awards here or my top 11 list, so make sure to leave your list in the comments below. If you have a little award section, feel free to go ahead and give some awards out for yourself. I'd love to read some of those. But for our silver here, it is going to be Battle at the Ministry. Now, I know again, this might be a little controversial, but hear me out. You walk through the Metro Flu, and it might be the best reveal in the park. I don't know yet, I'd have to really like dig in, but it might be the best reveal when you walk through and you turn and you're in this giant atrium and you are transported inside of a theme park and you're like, how are we in this building right now? Beautiful, love the reveal. And then as you go through the queue, the rest is fine. I think it's still good, it's still crazy, and you have some of these elements and like the posters and everything. It's super well done, it fits the theme perfectly, masterful queue. But the big reveal is at the very start, once you get through the Metro Flu, and then it kind of teeters off a little bit for me. So I would say for that, it kind of goes into the 2nd spot or our silver medal here. And that means our number 1 spot for the gold medal of this category, it goes to Monsters Unchained. I think Monsters Unchained has the best queue in the park. And what's crazy was one day we were there was a family walking over and they were like, what is that? And they saw the giant manor inside of Dark Universe and they were looking at it, and somebody else was like, yeah, like that's the ride. And he was like, what ride? And they were like, it's Monsters Unchained. He's like, oh, it is. And so they ended up going into the attraction. But it's so beautiful because it's this giant manor and you're like, what is that? It's this giant thing. You walk into it. You know, that's super cool. But here's the thing, you walk in and then you kind of turn and go over to the side room and you go through those switchbacks in the outside area. That area is okay. It's probably the least themed of the entire queue, but then you come back into the manor and then it's just beautiful from there on out. It's telling the story, you're going room to room, you see Frankenstein's monster with the little x-ray machine, you're seeing the whiteboards, and then right as you're starting to get immersed in all that, you go up the staircase, and then upstairs, more is revealed and you start to see it, and then you see the lights flashing from all like the electricity, and then you go into the pre-show room, or like the pre-show to the pre-show room with Igor. That whole thing is awesome with the elements, how he's controlling it. And then you walk into the actual pre-show room with Victoria and Frankenstein's monster, and you see it all happening right there. Giant animatronic that comes walking out. It's beautiful. I will say after that room, you kind of go into a mediocre hallway. You know, you kind of like go around and it's fine. You go through like the one room with like the casket that's open, which is fine. And then you go into like the hallway and it's like, like this area is okay. But then you get another beautiful reveal as you go into the loading room where all the electricity is flowing above you, and then you see all the ride vehicles going by. It's just so good, and it's kind of the opposite of Battle. Battle like starts up here and it starts to go down a little bit, where I feel like Monsters is like pretty high already, and then it just keeps going up and up and up until you get on the ride. And I think it's just a masterful queue, and yeah, you gotta just give it the gold medal here. Let's get on to the top 11 list for me here. We're gonna go pretty quick. Coming in at my 11th spot, it's going to be Fire Drill. Now, it is a fine attraction. I don't love it, I don't hate it. It's just fine. Really, the big thing that just drops it for me is the queue. It just takes so long to get through that queue. And I feel like when it's really hot out and you wanna get on a water ride, the last thing you wanna do is move like 10 feet in 10 minutes. So it just kind of stinks how slow the queue goes. And yeah, the ride itself, it's fine. I just feel like Universal has some amazing water rides. You got Popeye and Bluto's, you got Ripsaw Falls. I mean, those two alone are just insane water rides. So like then you do this and you're like, ah, like it's just not the same as those. Even Jurassic Park River Adventure, same kind of concept. I feel like that ride is also just better than this one, unfortunately. So I feel like out of all the water rides that they offer, I would put this at the bottom, but that's just because I feel like their other ones are just so good. Number 10, I would have to put Yoshi's Adventure. I think it is a great attraction, but again, there's no thrill to it. It's definitely more of a kid ride, that slow mover, and it's fun, it's cute, it's just, you know, it's Yoshi's Adventure. That's kind of all it is. I feel like the entire queue inside is also beautiful for what it is. Again, being as it's kind of overshadowed by the other attractions in this land. But yeah, I would just say nice, solid 10 spot. Number 9, I wanted to put higher, but I just can't, and it's the Constellation Carousel. Now, beautiful carousel, probably the best carousel out there, and I just don't know how often you're ever gonna put a carousel too highly rated in your rankings in general. Obviously, it's not super thrilling or anything, but I love that it's different music every time. I love that at night, it's just a beautiful set piece there that just kind of exists right in the center of Celestial Park. I just think it's a fantastic attraction. Operations on it, again, are very slow. I think every single time we've ridden it, they've had to shut down one of the ride vehicles. I don't even know if I've ever seen it running at full capacity yet, because at least one of the ride vehicles is not working. Yeah, I think that kind of holds it back a little bit for me, but again, still a beautiful attraction. And I think I would ride it, you know, every single time I went if there wasn't, you know, too long of a line to do it and it didn't take forever to get on. But overall, still a beautiful carousel. So number 8 for me will be Mario Kart Bowser's Challenge. I really wanted this one to be a little higher for me. I don't love that you have to wear the goggles in order to kind of play the game, because sometimes, again, it can make you a little nauseous if you're riding it. It's also a little heavy, which was kind of a surprise. But also, I just think the whole set around there is just beautiful. But the problem is, I spend so much time like inside the game and like looking, trying to shoot the, you know, shells at all these guys, that I end up not paying attention to the entire like set and like the scenery. And then next thing you know, you're getting off of the ride. And I was like, oh, I didn't even pay attention to where we were. Again, I've ridden it without the goggles and I actually loved it. I thought it was way better, but then you miss out on the entire game aspect of it, like I said. So it kind of stinks in that regard, but I understand why it is the way that it is. But for me, yeah, I'm just putting it at the 8th spot. Number 7, it is going to be Dragon Racers Rally. Now, you guys know how much I like this ride, so obviously being right behind Mario Kart shows you that I still love Mario Kart. It just doesn't quite get into that top section. But this ride, I think it's just a little too short. I think another few laps would be nice, but I understand if they did that, I feel like the line wouldn't move very much. And if I didn't get to flip in the first 3 or 4 times around, I'm probably not flipping on the 5th, 6th, 7th time around. So it's just an excuse for me to be like, well, if I got to go around a few more times, I might have gotten to flip. But let's be honest, it wasn't gonna happen anyway. So yeah, fun little 7th spot, right almost in the middle there. Number 6 will be probably my most controversial take, and that is going to be Battle at the Ministry. This ride just drops heavily for me because of the nausea factor. Beautiful attraction, beautiful queue, love the ride as a whole, but I can't ride it very often because it just makes me nauseous. So unless I go in at the end of the night and I just expect to get a little nauseous before I head home, it's one of those rides I'm not gonna be able to ride that often unless I just wanna like brave through the nausea for the day. But anybody that gets nauseous understands it just isn't fun to deal with it. You don't wanna be taken out for a few hours. And I feel like if I was going for one day and that ride kind of like messed me up for 2 hours or so from the nausea, that would really take a lot out of my trip. So for me, it ranks lower. Not everybody gets nauseous and not everybody gets as nauseous as I do. Even if you get nauseous, maybe not as bad as I do. So that is just kind of the reason that it ranks a little bit lower. If we took out the nausea and I didn't get nauseous, easily a top 3 attraction in this park. And a lot of people have it as their number 1 at the park and potentially their number 1 in the world. And I can definitely understand why. Beautifully well done attraction, absolutely love it. But the nausea factor really drops it down for me because I just can't ride it that often. Number 5, however, is another ride that could make you nauseous, but I've lucked out, like I said, and that's Curse of the Werewolf. I really like Curse of the Werewolf. I think it is a fun ride. I tell you this all the time, that it packs a punch. That's my whole thing. And I think it does. I think it packs a punch. It is very short, I understand that. And if the theme was a little better, if they really themed it up a little bit more, I think this one could break the top 3 potentially. If it was a little longer and a little bit more theme, I think it could definitely, break into the top 3. But for now, it just doesn't get there for me. But it is still an amazing attraction. I think it will gain a lot more popularity in time. I think the people that ride it like it, and they all say the same thing is, I wish it was a little bit longer. But they had to utilize the space that they were in. It's fun, it's fast, but it is over pretty quick. But yeah, I really like this one, putting it at the number 5 spot. Until one day I get really nauseous from it, then it'll just drop like crazy. But as of now, I've ridden it almost 10 times and I haven't gotten nauseous yet. All right, number 4, it is Donkey Kong Minecart Madness. I love this ride. I think I smile the entire time. I'm laughing, I'm having a good time. Every time I get off Minecart Madness, I am just having a blast. I think the whole ride is fun. If you wanted to find a ride that hits the fun factor, if we did an awards for fun rides, this would probably be number 1. It's just fun. I get that it's a little rickety and you kind of, vibrate around and you're getting tossed and you're like, it's a little goofy, but it's just fun. It's meant to be a little funky like that. It's just a beautifully well-designed ride. I love the way that it's done. It just, I don't know, start to finish, smile on my face, laughing, having a good time. I would ride it over and over, and we did a few times when we were in previews the one day. That was awesome. And opening day, I think we did the same thing, got to ride it a few times back to back. It was just, I love that ride. I just wish it wasn't like a 120-minute wait almost all the time. But yeah, just a fun ride. Definitely an easy slot in for 4. Breaking into the top 3, this was tough for me because I feel like it does switch a lot. But for right now, in this moment, this is what I am putting at my confirmed top 3. Again, easily could change at any point. But for now, number 3, Hiccup Swing Gliders. Now, this attraction is dang near perfect. They could theme up the queue a little bit more, and there are a few points where it doesn't have much theming on the ride or whatever, but it's totally fine. I get why. It's still a roller coaster that goes through the land, so it is what it is. But the music, the little story that they're telling, and you're getting the wings attached, Toothless just launches you, and the way you're diving down throughout the entire land and you get to see the entire land. You pick up some serious G's around that turn where the sheep are. I don't know, I love it. The music, the ride, it's just perfect number 3, honestly. And it seriously could be like a number 2 or 1. I would put it as far as Hagrid's goes in this ride, I would say Hagrid's, it's a little longer, it's a little bit more punchy, and obviously a little bit more story there and kind of theming. But I would say Hagrid's and Hiccups are so close, but I still would say Hiccups is just behind it a little bit. But they are definitely close, similar systems and everything. But yeah, I love it. Hiccups, solid number 3. My number 2 is Stardust Racers. And really the reason is because this attraction is dang near perfect. I'm not even lying for a roller coaster. It is so good. It's punchy, it's intense. You get the dueling aspect, which again, I always say is a dancing aspect because you're not really fighting the other one. You're just existing and you go over the other one. Oh, it's beautifully well done. It's so good. I like it more than Velocicoaster. I confirmed that the other day. I rerode Velocicoaster and I've ridden Stardust both within 24 hours. I rode both of them. Stardust is my preferred ride, which is crazy because I was I think Velocicoaster still wins. Stardust is my preferred ride. I think the fact that you get so many different experiences, whether you're in the front, the back, green, yellow, night, day, I think there's just so many ways to ride this ride, which is also why I could put it at number 1. But I do think it is the best attraction in the evening, and it's not even close. And I've said this before, it's not even close. There is not another attraction in the evening that beats this ride. Stardust Racers at night is the best nighttime ride in the world, hands down. I don't even think it's close. I think the fact that you interact with each other, the lights, just how fast you're going, how cool it is with the music, everything, perfect. It is literally the perfect nighttime ride. They nailed it. Mack Rides, Universal, whatever, you guys nailed it. Absolutely love it. But I do have to say, for the number 1 spot, it's Monsters Unchained. And it's because I love the idea of Forbidden Journey, but I can't ride it because it makes me nauseous, where I don't get nauseous on this ride. I think the story elements are so fun. I think when every animatronic is working and running, it's so good. I think it is just, it's beautifully well done. And I want to go back and ride it all the time. It's got low wait times all the time because they're chugging through people. So is Stardust. Stardust gets through a bunch of people. Monsters gets through a bunch of people. I think they are just beautifully well done, perfect additions to the park. And it's just like, I mean, they're two attractions that I just want to ride all the time. I wish I could just like go to the park, ride them both, and then go home. And just like, I would just do that every day because they're so good. I think the story being told in Monsters Unchained really elevates it. I think the queue really sends it to the #1 spot because, again, if you utilize the whole queue plus the ride as part of the experience, I think Monsters definitely wins that category. Going into the manor there, everything that they designed in there, and just being able to experience that, hearing the audio as they kind of tell the whole story, it's just wonderful. I feel like you get to utilize kind of the history of Frankenstein there as part of like the attraction in its own sort of way. And, you know, it's really kind of like the morality of things, and like, it's just cool. I mean, that's it. It's just cool, man. Like, that's all there is to it. It's just a cool ride. But Stardust, like I said, if it was Stardust at night and, you know, Monsters Unchained, I would put Stardust as #1. I think it's unbeatable. But daytime Stardust, I don't think is as good as Monsters, right? So it's kind of like, that's the situation you got to deal with there. It's so close, but I do think either one of those could be #1 for sure. But a nighttime ride on Stardust is still unmatched. But I would say Monsters is just, it's so beautifully well done. I love the attraction. And for now, that is my ranking. This can always change. Maybe in a year from now, if we end up getting annual passes, we can go back a lot more and I can really ride these rides, you know, 30, 40, 50 times and really just like get through them a lot more. I'll be able to have a different ranking. But as of now, that is my ranking. Those are some awards for the attractions here. And yeah, hopefully you guys had fun doing this little award ceremony and hearing what I have to say about the attractions. But yeah, that is my top 11 rides at Epic Universe and some awards for you guys. Hopefully you guys had fun with me hanging out in the backyard, battling these birds that are having a field day with each other. They are fighting up there in the tree. Either way, if you had fun with me here today, please give this video a thumbs up. It helps out a ton. If you don't mind, consider subscribing to the channel. It really helps out the channel so much and lets you guys know anytime we release new content like this. But either way, thank you for hanging out with me here today, and thank you so much for being here.